Out. It's time. Game number 3 is Tank Uther enough to get through this, and more importantly, what's it going to look like? How are those waves going to look? As it's time, Octalysis is showing us why they are known as the anti-meta here in Phase 2.
The Holy Fire. I'm going to be such a sad...
You want Holy Fire or Holy Shock? Just AoE burning Uther, or you want, like, Uther?
Who kills the Shrine? If you don't go Holy Fire this game, who kills the Shrine?
You know, nobody.
Tychus is going to be sitting there for an hour, and he's like, guys, you realize my minigun doesn't work on skeleton defenders, right?
My favorite thing is behind what you guys can't see is Dread imitating himself, holding the minigun, but it also looked like you were mowing the lawn.
It definitely did, yeah. Not like a John Deere cool commercial.
Like a push mower.
Like, yeah, like the awkward, sweaty guy outside who you're like, can you put your shirt on, please? Kind of lawnmower.
Confirmed, Dread mows the lawn with a shirt off. Doesn't explain why you're so pale, but...
Root lands on a Goku. Actually forced out that early hammer there, but not going to get too much, at least not when it comes to a kill or major experience. Wave control in favor of Endemic, I would argue, for now, purely because they're going for a laning mismatch. Even though Octalysis is bullying this lane, Endemic is not worried about the one forward. They're worried about the off-lane pressure, which is where Thrall Leo have gone. So much so that I wouldn't be surprised if Octalysis adjusts their laning situation.
Does that, though, bring in maybe a longer-term strategy because her objective spawns 3 minutes in? Does it, and obviously there's camps to consider post 1 minute, which is where we're at now, but will that warrant a response from Octalysis, and then the minute they see that, maybe Endemic forces their hand elsewhere? Is it more just a ruse, or is this an actual strategy, you think?
Well, I would argue this is a byproduct to the lack of wave clear that exists. Why would you cater to the 1-4 and give them a advantageous defense when you can get split pusher elsewhere? It is going to help that early Shrine, knowing that it's going towards the top half, but I would argue this is more just getting as much early game pressure out against a lack of wave clear composition as you possibly can.
Well, the rotation down. Thrall did make his way down as Leo and Thrall were kind of paired in that mid lane in case there was any type of invade. I'm not really terrified of an early game invade. I mean, obviously Tychus can rip through a Diablo health bar at any stage of the game with that percentage-based damage and can definitely trade out there very, very well. So now we'll see Endemic. They'll turn their attention to the top. The first Shrine will be in this top lane. We do, however, see Octalysis on the opposite side of the map in that bot lane picking up the Impalers for themselves. So the rotation here by both teams will be very important to the next few minutes of the game.
But I think this is Endemic displaying once again that they are very concerned with getting that early pressure, but a lot of early pressure, knowing that the top camp, again, or top Shrine is still going to spawn on the top half of the battleground, trying to get the laning mismatch in favor of the Leo and the split pressure before the objective spawns, because off split pressure towards the top half is not going to be an option, again, based on that Shrine placement, and it allows for a split pressure towards the bottom half now, not only in response to Octalysis, but more so being proactive and not catering to what is the all-in team fight that I feel like Octalysis is expecting here.
As much as you kind of expected Holy Fire, we got Holy Shock. I was expecting maybe the bigger they are just to deal with that Diablo, but with that double front line in the rhythm, staying in these points. We do have in the rhythm picked up here for Tychus, so that can allow you to rip through one health bar, and then one of them steps away, you turn and you change that target towards one of those frontliners. And the fact that you have 3 of those, especially with Thrall, can lead to a chance for you to do that. And now we see Endemic just missed out on getting that turnover onto Justin, but this is a 4-man push in the bot lane. This wall will not stand for long.
Now my question is do they stay for the entirety of the front wall and then rotate to get another front wall through mid, or do they make something else happen here? Dansky dropped the warp, Mike Udall under a bit of pressure as Big Impact gets the response of healing through. A lot of wild audio for a moment there. Yeah, I don't know what I heard, but it was something.
Oh, there's a Root. Nice follow up there. Draded instead of going out. He's trying to go in. Didn't get the reset, but they are going to get Biggie at the end of this. Dansky has a warp out with not much health. So Octalysis is able to turn this around the entire time. There was some Shrine contention as you see 19-9 in favor of Octalysis, but for Octalysis to get a kill out of that, that's a big win.
It is a big win, and it's even more so a win when looking at the fact that they just removed a lot of the off-lane pressure that their comp should be struggling with in the earlier stages. It's not going to disappear at the late stages of the game, but it surely is usually the biggest and easiest place to gain an advantage at for Endemic is levels 1 through 9, and they have not been able to get too much for themselves. It's not like, again, they haven't given the effort, because surely the rotations have been there. And now they're going to have to deal with the Punisher on the top half out of Octalysis.
I need Justin to hit me with that cooldown reduction. Just, you know, stun to root, go ahead and get holy shocks for days.
Hasn't committed.
Thinking of things to cleanse, there's a root potential from Whitemane at 13, a root from Thrall baseline, then of course Diablo, the stuns he could bring in. But with double support and armor from a Yrel, is it enough? Goku goes in, but the healing from Whitemane comes out as B-Kid staying alive for now, but here's going to be the follow-up. There's going to be the intercession, the cleanse. There's some self-healing, of course, with that Feast on Fear at level 1, allowing B-Kid to walk away.
That was a good cleanse as well, coming out for big impact. It felt like it was a bit of miscommunication because it was mid-overpower, so not as much mobility as maybe he'd like, but a great job there being able to remove the crowd control. So big B-Kid and friends end up surviving there, holding off the siege towards the top 4.
Losing that fort would have been snowball towards 10, definitely for Octalysis. The amount of experience in that, and Draded not able to stop that backing of the Leo there in time. Oh,
there's a pretty big power play for Octalysis though, as you hear J-How sadly see the cleanse picked up for Uther. And it's going to be, is they have the opportunity to just essentially, you know, kind of off-lane, like we talk about with Junkrat, he preps lanes a lot, have Yrel kind of prep the top lane for only 1 minion wave and then just 5-man all in, secure the race to 10 through that top 4. If they do that, it would be after clearing this mid wave, which is going to be pretty much an even matchup as both teams pick up these Impalers.
A slight lead towards 10 here for Octalysis. Draded just waiting for anybody to step up. Justin, of course, will drop that hammer if needed, but Justin not able to get in range, and Draded was revealed by that fire stomp from B-Kid. Experience, though, now rounding 10 here for both teams. Thrall snipping his way down. I believe that's who Draded is trying to find down there in the bottom. He does. And 10 here, we're going to see Octalysis move towards this bottom camp.
Endemic doesn't seem too concerned or interested here with the rotation. They are going to make their way down, but they had to have known that that was probably the direction that Octalysis went, and being willing to stall it out here. So J-How, what about the heroic choice when looking at the Uther? The Divine Shield seems like the choice because of the Dragon Blade. Normally I'd have been like, you're picking double support, Uther is your melee. This is Divine Storm game, but now we got the Dragon Blade picked up.
Is he waiting to see if Thrall is going to be going Sunder?
I can tell you this much.
To figure out if he wants to go that?
Well, Divine Storm into an Earthquake is about one of the most upsetting things you've ever done in your life. Not true. There's probably worse matchups, but as Uther with a Divine Shield, you always have that moment where you're like, I've got my hammer, it's up, like I'm ready to go in, I'm ready to be the playmaker, and you're just
clocked.
Like, oh, I'm trying to get into the fight, it's so far away. Earthquake, such a huge territory as I make this goony face and it zooms in. Yeah, but so the distance to get that proactive play and get an actual Divine Storm that has impact into an Earthquake is actually really low. Normally you'd be like, well, Earthquake is pretty difficult, or excuse me, the Sundering is pretty difficult to be able to move up to as well. And the answer is yeah, but it just doesn't last forever. It's like once I got past the stun, I'm like, okay, back to deciding if we're going to commit.
So you are advocating for Earthquake this game?
No, I'm advocating for if it is a Sundering and you intended to go Divine Storm, then you still commit to it. But if you see the Earthquake, then you go, we might want to Divine Shield this.
I'm excited to see. I mean, everybody loves a good D-Storm. I mean, obviously, if you see Leo, Wraith walking away, you see Diablo can pop that Lightning Breath. Both have the unstoppable status ahead of them. We have the intercession, so the cleanse for Whitemane can be there for a Thrall. So the play on that will require, I think, very aggressive position. And as you said, if that Earthquake is there, you might not be able to get into it.
Yeah, it's just, it slows the equivalent of like when you play Uther, it feels like when you play Deckard. Or not Deckard, but Garrosh, excuse me, sorry. I don't know why I've said Deckard over that. But Garrosh, because every slow just feels really bad, and your range of threat can be really high playmaking. And like when you see that play set up and the backline's like clumped, and you're like, if that storm hits, that's game. But you're just, again, so far away from making it happen.
Well, also, the one thing, it's just funny because this came up last night, the level 20 upgrade for Whitemane does give a full team heal if, you know, obviously if they're in range. As we're ready to get back into the game. Obviously, you have to make it to 20. Last game, we didn't get anywhere close to it, but it is something that if there is a D-Storm and Whitemane is not involved, could just basically lend a helping hand to just about everybody on our team.
Yeah, the AoE unstoppable on the upgrade is appealing. So we can see the D-Shield committed before we even see if it's a Sundering or Earthquake. So if you're the Thrall and you're responding to the Uther in this situation, would you commit one more over the other? It's going to go with the Earthquake. I can't help but feel like if I was responding, I don't know if I would have done that.
Who blinks first? Endemic. Oh, almost the same time.
Even matchup, but not the same case when looking at the offlane positioning. Leo joining the 4-man of Endemic. Now Urel, once she sees that, she's like, you know what? I want to be a part of this fight too. Let's do it.
See how this staggers out. Time for our Shrine phase. Again, Odin now post 10 is available. If you want to get some Odin value, definitely look to get some advantage and then siege up with that. If you feel you're too far behind, definitely use it to defend against the Punisher. So right now, Endemic with an early start.
Combo comes out onto B-Kid. 2-man scroll the ceiling. Earthquake thrown down. Lightning breath there. Armor spread out by Goku as he hammers him back. Salvo dropped. But Octalysis is just fine for now there. 3 heroics to the 1 of Octalysis.
Yeah, that was a major punch that was thwarted there. They're going to get the stun. There's going to be a cleanse, but also the Ardent Defender. He's going to hop right in, and in comes the Dragon Blade, starting to rip through the health bars. Not a significant amount of damage done just yet, but Endemic has retreated.
Look at the Skeletal Defenders, though. If they move up, Endemic just zone off here. Oh, there's a big boy Odin in the fog because Prismat realized we need to be able to get this percentage reset. Not given there. Too traded as Cure ends up backing out after the Wraith Walk. Endemic moves up. B-Kid flips over, and look at that on the back end. Tyka's damage coming through. Already getting 2 kills there. Onto Leo, onto Phoenix. 37 Skeletal Defenders. Mike Udall commits. B-Kid commits here as Mike Udall actually ends up dropping one more Skeletal Defender. J-Out, can they get it? They do. But at what cost?
They get it at a cost of all 5 members dying. There is worth, and then there is hashtag not worth. I don't want to say that's not worth, Dreadnought, but that was not worth.
So you're saying you don't want to say it, but you did?
Somebody's got to say it.
It was a bad position there for a moment. And I think the biggest thing to point out there is Endemic, once they saw the 19 into like 31 Skeletal Defenders, that regrouping initiation is definitely the heads-up play there from them. But then you could see very quickly people get a little bit antsy. 2 people go in for the first 2 clear, and then it's like, oh man, suddenly they're taking too low on HP. We've lost 1 target. Do we fully commit? And it hit the panic button by the end of it. But they're not out of range too far of experience or structures to be too fearful, at least not yet, as they are going to pick up their 13.
There's an argument always to be made that it is worth, right? And I think that in certain circumstances, giving up the Punisher could have been far more condemning. But I think when you look beyond just 5 heroes dying, is that you almost have lost a second hero by way of Diablo's souls.
Yeah.
Because Diablo, obviously, he can stack up sitting at 14 now. He has multiple ways of stacking up, but it is not pretty for a while in these engagements for Diablo. And speaking of in engagements, Cure, that's going to be another takedown. Dreaded actually just missed on helping to get the kill, so we get the root coming out there from Biggie. But yeah.
If anybody had been there to follow up after Dreaded missed the reset and then got the lashes there, that would have been a dead Dreaded. Big play there from Big Impact, just not having the people in response.
For Octalysis with that kill and the control, and they're looking towards this top. Boy, they are committing Odin to this. This is a lot committed to an area where I wasn't sure if they needed it. Leo's already back up. This is an even talent tier fight if Endemic can take this. Here we go.
Here has an Entomb, but he didn't commit to the Prismat over the wall. Ardent Defender pop now by Goku.
Oh, that interrupted the warp. That's going to confirm the kill. That's kill number 1. The Odin has now expired. In comes the Dragon Blade. They haven't taken down the fort just yet. Urel even popping, excuse me, Whitemane popping the heroic, giving that heal and the armor. But this fort is going to fall, and 16 is going to be picked up here for Octalysis.
Yeah, and the 50 seconds without the Aegis is probably not going to cost Endemic. But
that camp spawning too.
Yeah, it's a big indicator to pretty much how the success of the teamfight is going, because it is the easiest way to pass out her passive in Zeal and spread it onto everybody to make sure those lashes really convert over to not just damage, but healing to the team. And seeing it used in that kind of situation, it just shows how difficult things have gotten here for Endemic after the Tychus force of the top fort. Now the bullying throughout the 16 over mid fort. Mike Udall flanks. Is he going to Earthquake? There it is.
There's the salvo getting the extra value, but Michael Udall gets blown up instantly. Dreaded, he's trying to survive, ends up swift striking out. Diablo, no souls. He's going to fall quickly. And now we're going to see Cure using that extra Wraith Walk link. He's going to walk away. Goku goes in, seeing if he can lock anybody down. Should be able to survive with the double support here for Goku. But things going from bad to worse here for Endemic, as they're going to lose control of this camp and the next Punisher.
And one thing I want to highlight over that last initiation is you notice how fast Diablo was able to die. And we've been talking about the lack of souls gained, right? That he was trying to recover them. Sitting at now 49 souls in the hands of B-Kid. But I want to bring it to the 13 of Deckard Cain and how much of that was actually everybody getting amplified damage and just focusing down what is a, less of the demon known as Diablo, but surely a lot of that comes down to that beautiful play here from Buds and friends.
For Octalysis Dreadnought, they stole the camp away from Endemic, but it looks like they're going to try and use the Shaman camp from their own side to try and further this Punisher, further this push. So look for them to try and time this out and really try and make this the amplified push, because when you have this Shaman camp at your back, you have the talent to your advantage, at least for a while longer. You now look at keep and then potentially more. So Endemic will have a tough defense here. It's the Punisher picked up and the Shaman camp's going to be joining it.
The one thing I'm looking at on this is, does the sidewall go down? Octalysis is going to try and force it.
Oh, they're on it. That's already gone to
It's now, do you cleanse to bait it, or do you use the Wraith Walk? And Leoric's not in position yet. If you cleanse to bait it, that's the answer.
Oh, but B gets health bar, in comes Traded, as well as the Lornado. We're going to see Cure try and walk away. The Mortar Punisher bringing down Ardent Defender already used. They have Odin Dreadnought to siege up on this. They are looking to end the Shaman camp. The wave is here as the fight comes in. Biggie, he's getting knocked back. Salvo tries to come out, but now Phoenix is being jumped on. 2 members down on the side of Endemic, and now Octalysis has turned their focus to the core.
Going to focus on to the core, and only essentially just an entomb opportunity, but even if it goes down, it's just keeping Octalysis in a box on top of the core as they're focusing it down. Their dominance displayed in game number 2 and carrying it through game number 3. Here is Octalysis now taking a lead in this series, 2-1 over Endemic.
Okay.